Parents of Reddit, what do your kids think they are hiding that you know about? You're watching Robots Reading Reddit. The link to the original thread is in the doobly-doo if you want to check it out yourself. My 9-year-old thinks his searches are private. So far I've seen how to get mum to buy more dogs, how to open sweets no noise, and my all-time favorite, how to stop mum being upset that Lego hurts. He regularly leaves Lego on the stairs and it drives me crazy. My 11-year-old doesn't know that I know about the 3 backup torches hidden in his room that he bought at the store a few months ago. Every night there's protests from him at 9 PM when I go into his room and catch him reading under his doona with the torch that I make him hand over to me every night. Even though I know in 5 minutes he will have one of his stashed torches out and be reading again until he passes out around 9:45. Every night I laugh to myself at his passionate act at 9 PM of how unfair I am. My mum and dad don't know that my nephew hides chocolate and sweets down the side of his bed at their house for him to snack on when he stays over. I caught him sneaking a chocolate bar before dinner once and promised I wouldn't tell. And that's why I'm the cool uncle. My mum and dad totally know, and as long as the stash doesn't get too big they don't mind. When my eldest daughter was still in high school, I began to notice some things here and there that were indicative of smoking pot. Her eyes would be red/glossy, osium in her car, lighter/eye drops are beginning to show up randomly throughout the house. Aside from a funny joke here and there, once she was a little older, and the usual just be safe, call me if you need anything I won't be mad talk, we've never explicitly talked about marijuana. I'd like to have a conversation about it with her and also share some of my experiences with her. The only thing that bothers me is that she probably believes she sneakily slid her pot smoking from her parents. But no, we just don't care about weed. We let my kids get away with a few little things, so we wouldn't tip them off that we knew and paid attention. So my kids never felt they had to be overly stealthy, and thus I had a pretty good idea what they were doing. As soon as they know you know, they up their stealth. My kids thought they were hiding mostly food things and not sleeping things. Sneaking electronics under covers after lights out. Food in the bedroom. Sneaking out into the living room after we went to sleep or early in the AM for snack or electronics. And then of course the piles of mess hidden when cleaning the bedroom. In teen years, the secret online accounts were not terribly well hidden. We pretended to not find that and were able to monitor easily. Our kids thinks we are tech morons, but we also learned our kid is overall pretty sensible. A few issues came up and we had to find a way to help without giving away how we knew. But overall, kids felt trusted and thus rose to the occasion. My son, 1, can walk. He refuses to walk if he knows you can see him. He thinks once he walks and everyone knows he won't get carried anymore. I've caught him walking when he thought I was in a different room. As soon as he sees me, he drops and cries. Little turd. He doesn't do it anymore, but this is one of my favorite stories. My first clue was the smell. I could sense something almost rotten coming from somewhere in the living room. I was worried maybe a bird or bat or something had died in the chimney, but no, that wasn't it. I searched the entire room until I found a stash of about 5 chicken nuggets, all in various states of decay, tucked away under a shelving unit in the corner. I got rid of them, obviously confused, then thought nothing of it after. Then, a couple weeks later, the smell reappeared in a different room, my son's room. I set about cleaning, and, lo and behold, find a new stash hidden among their toys. My son was hoarding chicken nuggets. He would save 1 or 2 every time we had them, and any parent can tell you chicken nugs are the go-to fad of many a kid, so it was a couple times a week we were having them. I confronted him about it and asked why he felt the need to hoard food. Apparently, he was just saving them for on. Of course I freak out, wondering who the F Ron is. I don't know, but 1 and my sons never met him, and how my kid knows him. I asked my wife, a British expat, who Ron was, and she laughed for like 10 minutes straight as I fumed and contemplated secret affairs and beating some dude's ass into the dirt. When she finally caught her breath, she explained that saving something for on was a British colloquialism for saving something for later on. So yeah, that's how my son hiding chicken nuggets almost made me die from a rage coronary and almost killed my wife with hysterical laughter. She thinks she gets away with sneaking out of bed and raiding the fridge or grabbing up her various electronics, that is cell phone, tablet, PSP. But what she doesn't know is I move the unhealthy snacks to the garage freezer at night so her choices of eggs, fruit, or something else healthy. And I make sure her ebook reader is the easiest one to find, so she stops searching, and I know she is reading, because I have the parental lock set on a timer on that one. My daughter has always written stories, not necessarily finished stories, but original stories, that are at least the start of a tale, that could be from a good story. At some point in the past 3 years my daughter, she's now 15, stopped sharing her stories with us. She continues to write, and posts to a social media site meant for such things. Her stories have gotten to be more adult in a way, including sexual scenes and occasional violence. Nothing too over the top, mind you. I'm sure that she's not sharing these stories with us, because she's embarrassed to have her parents read it. The only reason I've seen them is because I have access to her account on the social media site and her email. Not because I'm a nosy dad, but because she always comes to me for help resetting her passwords when she's forgotten them or has been logged out too long. What they do online. One time my 3 kids thought they were being sneaky and bought their first Minecraft skin pack on the Xbox when I wasn't in the room. Kid clicks confirm buy. Dad gets email notification about purchase. Who just bought Star Wars skin 1 pack for Minecraft. At least they have good tastes. Kid's jaws hit the floor and are still stunned when I walk into the room. Oh crap. Oh crap. How did he know? And so fast. We are screwed. The look on their faces will forever be etched in my brain. It was so funny. And they weren't screwed. They collectively paid for it from their chore money, and we had a nice chat about buying things online and where that money comes from. They also haven't learned about browser history or incognito or Netflix history. My son was born hard of hearing, and he'll sneak his iPad into his bed and watch cartoons on Netflix without his hearing aids in. Consequently, he has to turn the volume way up to hear it, which means everyone in the house can also hear it. He still has a look of pure shock when one of us pops our head into his room and tells him to hand it over. So, he started muting shows and just watching them at night. Well, son, light travels far and fast. We can see the shifting lights on walls in the hallway from our bedroom. Shaking my head. I used to have a huge wooden wardrobe in my room. It was from my grandmother, very heavy and sturdy. The wardrobe, not my granny. Now, the wardrobe is in my daughter's room. She is 8. She found that you can take out a wooden board of the wardrobe and there is a hidden space beneath. She has a stash of chocolates and her diary there. She doesn't know that I use the same trick to hide stuff. One day I will tell her. My daughter keeps sneaking stuff to school. Only she tells our cat everything, so she waits until I go to the bedroom to get dressed every morning, then says out loud. Jingles. I'm taking my burger squishy to school today, okay? Don't tell mum. I can hear you. You're talking out loud. I don't care if you take your burger squishy. Before my own kids arrived, I used to run a private boarding house as a second chance for kids who had been kicked out of the school one. Their parents required we be very strict on them, just to make sure they finished school. Private boarding schools. One of the kids was out at a school function and I took the opportunity to search his room. Parents' consent was given. In his art supply box, which was locked with a combination lock, I found a pack of cigarettes. This was against the house rules. Instead of ratting him out to his parents or shouting at him, I just removed them. At the time the 2 boys, 16 and 18, were playing my wife and I against each other to get their way. What ensued was entertaining. Boy A blamed Boy B for stealing them. Boy B swore he never even knew they were there and neither could tell us about them as they would have been expelled. It gave my wife and I the much needed break to get order back in the house. My oldest is gay. He doesn't know we know he is gay. We've always known. It's just who he is. I'm right-handed and have green eyes. It's just who I am. It just is. We live in a really tiny overseas military community, which makes it a bit complicated, but all we can do is make sure our conversations are inclusive. We use phrases like "I've been married to my sailor for going on 19 years" rather than saying husband, or we say, if you choose to get married, it's going to be important that you talk with your spouse about who fulfill which roles in your marriage. And don't just assume that one person does certain jobs, because that's how you saw it was done in your parents' marriage. My spouse and I have talked a bit about how we plan to handle it when he finally comes out and just tells us, or brings home a boyfriend. Honestly, it's probably just going to be along the lines of, "Hey, nice to meet you. Are you a mayonnaise or mustard kind of guy on your turkey sandwich?" And just let that be it. I mean, does it really need to be more than that? For as long as I can remember, at least since he was 6, there has been an ingoing two-way open conversation with this kid about sex, consent, STIs, birth control, condoms, and just about any other question he has come to us with. There has been a lot of times where I've had to take a deep breath, tell him, "Well, that's an interesting question. I may have to Google that," with safe search off, but I've always come back with answers and we have always had good conversations after. Maybe a bit uncomfortable as a mom to be having, but good. But back to your question, I know my son is gay. I know my son knows he is gay. I'm just waiting for my son to decide to tell us he's gay, and then we can just get back to making turkey sandwiches. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching.